Hey, everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello. It's been a while since I've brought you a solo episode. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately. My personal assistant has been doing an amazing job of reaching out to people, getting me on podcast swaps where I'm getting on a lot of other shows and other people are getting on my shows. And the cool thing with that is that I'm getting a lot more exposure. People are listening to me on other podcasts and then coming over to take a listen to my own show, and I'm finding that they are enjoying it and sticking around, and it's really cool. And also in a podcast Facebook group recently that has over 100,000 members or something like that, I posted a snapshot of my stats, my monthly downloads, and my growth and my overall numbers. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of people were impressed and saying those are really good numbers. I should be proud, because up to this point, to be completely honest with you, I had no idea of, is this normal? Are these good? It sounds good. It looks like it's growing, but how do I know it's actually doing well? And I did get some validation from several people that, yeah, those are really good numbers. One guy that my personal assistant reached out to actually has his own podcast, and this was about a podcast swap opportunity. And the crazy thing is that he actually works for the podcast hosting platform that I use, and he was able to go back and verify all the numbers and say, actually, yeah, these are his overall downloads. This is more impressive than really the monthly downloads. I think my overall downloads are close to like 830,000 all-time downloads, whereas my monthly downloads right now are about 49,000 downloads a month and growing. Keep in mind, the first January I did my podcast, I had 136 downloads. A year later, I was at 19,000. A year after that, I think I was around 38,000. And right now I'm at the 49,000 mark. I'm looking forward to seeing what I hit in January of 2021. But in any case, today's episode is about using a scorecard method. If you watch my YouTube videos, I did post a video that I did on Facebook Live recently where I was running through this tool that I made, and I just wanted to give everybody an idea out there of a way to track their goals. I've talked about goals before. I've talked about goal setting. My own goals and my own way of tracking them has evolved and changed over time. And right now, the thing that I'm doing is using a scorecard. And the beauty of the scorecard is that I'm able to get an idea of the activities that I think are most important for me. And I'm able to actually stick through and take action on those activities. So I am going to talk through my scorecard real quick for you. I just have it in a Google Sheet. It's called Daily Task Scorecard. If you're interested in getting a copy of this, if you shoot me a DM on Instagram, I hope my DMs don't explode, but I haven't set up a landing page or anything for this just yet. I really should, so I can just automate it and send you to that landing page to sign up and get it. But if you shoot me a DM on Instagram, ChrisBello09 is my handle. I'll be more than happy to send you an Excel file that I've been sending out, a template version where you can plug and play with your own goals. But basically, it's come down to identifying the things that I think move the needle most for me. And for me, I'm in a real estate, right? So showing houses leads to writing offers, which leads to executed offers, which means I'm most likely going to get paid if we get past inspection, everything looks good, and the buyer wants to close. On the listing side, if I do a consultation and someone wants to list their house with me, those are things that I give myself points for. But I'm also a content creator, so I have points that I give myself if I'm on a podcast or if someone's on my podcast. And so just to read through my own sheet right now, and I'm not going to share my screen for those who are listening so you can listen along without feeling like you're going to get lost. A few of the things that I have on here: if I get an executed contract, I give myself 3 points because that means a contract was signed by both parties. That's a big deal. That means I'm more likely to get paid 1 month later if everything goes well and closes smoothly. Showing houses to clients and to buyers specifically, I'm giving myself 2 points per client. So if I have two different clients that I'm showing houses to in a day, I would give myself 4 points because showings lead to writing offers, which lead to accepted offers. And then for podcast interviews, I'm also giving myself 2 points for that. If I do a Facebook Live, I'm saying that's worth 2 points to me because it gets my name out there and other people tune in and watch me live on my Facebook feed. And then if I do a social media post, that's a little easier. It doesn't take as much work to post a picture and a little caption or post a link to one of my recent podcasts. So I give myself 1 point for that. If I send an email blast to my email list, I give myself 1 point for that. And so those are some of the examples of things that I have. Another thing that's a big deal for me being in real estate, if I do a buyer or listing consultation. If someone books a Zoom call with me to talk about buying or selling their house, that's pretty much a sales call. Like if I convince them and they sound great and they want to work with me, that leads into a signed buyer's rep agreement or listing agreement for me. So those activities are pretty important for me to actually focus on. And I give myself 2 points for that. So basically, according to my scorecard, my goal is to get 5 points in a single day. And if I get those 5 points, I can feel comfortable calling it a day to an extent. And anything on top of that is just a cherry on top. It's just a bonus. So there have been days since I implemented this about a month ago that I've knocked out all those things. I was just, very on top of it. By noon, probably, I had, a social media post. I posted a podcast post. I had a coffee meeting and I showed some houses. Like I can get 7 or 8 points sometimes by noon. And while it sounds to some that this is too easy and that I made the points too hard, I am tweaking it here and there. I'm giving myself less points if I think something's not worth as much, and giving other things more points if I think it should be weighted more heavily. But the idea here is to actually create a system that I use every day and that I feel like I can measure what I am doing and tracking the activities that move the needle. So, for example, the other day, I think this was on Thursday, it was my mom's birthday, and I didn't really have much planned in the evening, but someone wanted to go see a house at 5. I had dinner at 7 with my mom and my family. So I was like, yeah, let's go look at this house. I can do it at 5. Let's go make it happen. We met up at 5. They wanted to write an offer. Unfortunately, my transaction coordinator was actually driving, so she was going to be busy for like 4 or 5 hours. So I had to write the offer. I couldn't outsource it or delegate it to her. No big deal. Sat in my car, connected to my internet tethering on my phone, wrote up the offer, sent it out for signatures. Unfortunately, it was like 8 or 9. It was like 6:30 because I was on time for dinner. And so I sent the offer to the listing agent and I did my part. I did everything I could, had my buyer sign, sent it out. And I followed up the next day consistently, like, hey, when are we getting the signed offer? What do we have to do to make this work? Anything we can do to improve our offer to get the seller to actually accept it, because it was only one day on the market and the seller was hesitant to accept an offer so fast. And so in any case, I followed up with everything. So on Thursday, I gave myself 2 points for showing a house, even if it was one, whether it was one house or 5 houses. They really loved this one house. I'm still giving myself 2 points because of the act of showing the house. And so 2 points for that. Next day, by about 7 or 8 p.m., we had an executed contract because I had told the listing agent, hey, my buyers really want it. They don't want to compete with people from over the weekend. So they're going to pull their offer within 24 hours ish. So I kind of put a limit on her. I told her by 8 p.m. on Friday, my buyers are going to back out. Maybe you'll get other offers this weekend. Maybe you won't. But we came in strong, 5K above ask. We gave them what they wanted. And so we thought it was fair for them to accept the offer. In any case, gave myself 3 points for that. So you can see how a combination of Facebook Lives and showing houses and writing offers and getting them accepted, I get my points for the day. So in any case, if you have a point system, it's easier to track what you're doing every day and to identify the things that you think are important. And this activity, actually creating a scorecard, forces you to sit down and think, what is working? Where are my leads coming from? Where have all my previous deals been closed? Did they come from Facebook ads? Did it come from referrals? Did it come from direct mail? All these different types of marketing. So you have to kind of dig into that and figure out what's working best for you. And so for me, I've determined like all the leads that I've closed this year, most of them have been either from social media or from referrals. And so I have metrics in there for myself to post more on social media, do more podcast interviews, get on more podcasts to grow my podcast audience from people who listen to other shows and then come and subscribe to my show. And all of these things are starting to pay off. I show houses, they want to write an offer, the offer gets accepted, I get paid the next month, right? It's kind of like digging really deep into those whys almost, or digging into the root cause. Do the root cause analysis. If you closed a deal or you got a big sale or something happened, what caused that? And then dig in further. How did that happen? So I've had a couple leads where I didn't do a great job. Someone called me and said they wanted to sell a house, and I honestly had no idea how I met this person. This was probably earlier this year. I think we closed the deal back in May or June. Can't remember how he had my number, where I met him. I should have asked, but I just kind of like, played it off as if I remembered. Oh yeah, thank you. Like, how about we meet here? This was before COVID. I was like, meet at my office. Let's talk about it. We probably met back in Jan or February of this year, and I got the house listed. It took a little bit of time to sell. Like 3 or 4 months later, we got an offer. A month after that, we closed. And I should have done a better job to figure out where did that lead come from, because in that case, I have no idea. I'm thinking he heard me talk when I was at my previous investment company that I worked at. So if I had known that, and I could still go back and ask, but I haven't really kept in touch with him for a while. If I figure that out, where did I meet him? Did he hear me talk when I was doing business development? Should I do more of those opportunities? Should I speak at more things and then hand out my business card and do a raffle to collect business cards so I can add people to my email list, right? And then I send a weekly email, which I give myself 1 point for. All these things, it's a combination of adding people on Facebook. They see my stories, they see my Facebook lives, they hear my podcasts, they get my weekly email. I don't know if I already said that again. They have my number. And then eventually I'm always got a link in there to schedule a call with me, a Calendly link. So they can schedule a 15-minute introductory call or a 30-minute consultation call if they're ready to talk about buying or selling their house. So whatever it is in your business, what are the things that you find important? Do you have people who book you for haircuts? Like, are you a stylist or a barber? Are you doing windshield repair? One of my followers and probably podcast listeners does windshield repair, I believe. So I looked at his site earlier today. He did a great job, had Calendly links and everything for consultation for a bit. He has a course, I believe, or at least some kind of webinar on how to build your own windshield repair business. And so he did a great job with having a great clean page and a Calendly link to book him. So I'm always adding value and I've always got this call to action. If you want to talk about buying or selling, click this link, book a time with me. Calendly integrates with Zoom. It adds on my calendar automatically. And then I'm like pleasantly surprised because the next day I'm like, oh, cool. So-and-so booked a call with me. And it's in the time window that I've created rules for. So for example, I'm recording this the week of Thanksgiving. I was actually planning on going out of town, but those plans changed. So I already blocked off my whole calendar to be out of town, quote unquote, for the week. So no one can even book me. If they want to book me and I give them my link, the bookings resume the week after Thanksgiving. And so today, one person booked me for the 30th, and I'm recording this on the 22nd of November. This podcast is going live on the 23rd. This person booked me on the 30th, which is when my calendar opens back up, and it works for me because if I were out of town, like I was planning on doing this week, I wouldn't want to be necessarily doing calls while I'm on the road or in between like a lunch or dinner with family or something like that. So in any case, this scorecard has been very key for me to be able to feel accomplished because there are times, especially for those of you who work in sales or are just starting off, there are many times when you feel like you've done a long day of stuff, you did a bunch of things, you're not even sure if they move the needle. And worse off is that oftentimes you can't see the immediate results. All the things that you did today, all the seeds that you planted today, you may not see any benefits from that at all right now, but you know that those things are going to eventually pay off. It may be next month, it may be 3 months from now. You're not sure. All you can do is measure what you do today and the things that you can control. I've made goals before of, oh, I want to make $1,000 a month doing X or $5,000 a month doing Y. And that's great. Like I still have some monetary goals that I want to hit. I want to consistently hit 25K months right now, doing 2 real estate deals if possible. That way I can maximize my output with the amount of input that I need to put in, with minimizing the amount of time I need to spend on these deals. And so like that's one of my monetary goals, but I can't just track that and hope that it works and these deals just fall in my lap. I've got to dig in deeper. What brings leads? Of social media posts, email blasts, contacting my sphere, telling everyone I know that I'm in real estate whenever I'm having conversations. Those types of things lead to people asking me questions about what their house is worth, or if they want to buy a house, what the interest rates are like, which leads to a consultation call. They book a Calendly Zoom call with me, and then that call happens. And then depending on my close ratio and how serious they are and ready to go, that turns into business. So whatever it is in your business, whatever you do, drill down and figure out what are the activities that lead to my highest dollar producing activities. Again, it depends on your business, and you can customize this scorecard that I've made to fit your needs. Maybe a Facebook Live to you is only worth 1 point. Maybe it's worth 3 points if you get all your business from that. Maybe an email blast is worth 2 points to you, whereas I only have it as 1 point on my scorecard. It really just depends on you. But ultimately, I am able to go back now that I've done this for over a month, and I can see, ooh, on this day, I got 8 points. On that day, I got 5 points. So I barely made it. oh, that other day, yeah, I was kind of busy, slash, I went skydiving and enjoyed the most of the day. It didn't really work that much. I only got 4 points, but I'm okay with that because overall, during the week, I'm averaging at least 25 points, which is my goal. I want to hit 5 points a day during the weekdays. So my goal is to hit 25 points. And even this past week, I think I hit like, what was it, like 33 or something? I've been overachieving Monday through Thursday, where I've almost always gotten my 25 points by Thursday because I've just been pedal to the metal, nose to the grindstone. And then Friday, I've taken a couple Fridays off over the last few weeks, to be completely honest. I've done a little bit of stuff here and there. If someone wants to see a house, sure, I'll show one or two on a Friday because, again, that leads to writing offers, which leads to money in my pocket and happy clients. But I'm able to say no too at times. I went to the park one Friday, I read, I wrote some notes down in my journal. Another Friday, I decided to go to an indoor skydiving place. And then the other day on a Wednesday, it was a beautiful day. I think this was on Veterans Day. I just decided to go and get a couple of skydives in because I just took a 8 hour class to get current again. I had to take the dive, what is it called? Ground school at skydiving school. So I could get a refresher because I hadn't jumped in 2 years. And then I decided, hey, Wednesday, it's beautiful weather on Veterans Day out here. It wasn't too windy. It's a great day to get out there and get current because the Sunday I had taken the 8 hour class. So on Wednesday, I was ready to go jump a couple of times. And I did. And I came home and I got work done and I headed to a photo shoot for some real estate stuff. And I'm trying to improve my Instagram content. If you saw that recently on my Instagram, again, my handle is chrisbello09. But in any case, hit me up if you're interested in that. Whether you use my scorecard or you create your own, it's super powerful to be using some kind of tool like that because you feel accomplished at the end of the day. You know that you're doing the things that move the needle, and you can kind of track and see what are the things that I was doing 2 months ago for this lead that just came in. Maybe someone replies to your story and that's a potential customer or client, and you can look back. Did they reply to this podcast episode that I did? Did they ask a question on this Facebook live video that I did? And then you can get an idea like, hey, I think these Facebook live videos are where most of my leads are getting nurtured and they're coming into my funnel and into my world. And then they're becoming more comfortable with me. And then they're ultimately reaching out to book an appointment for whatever business you do, for windshield repair or a haircut or a real estate consultation. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope everybody's having a great week. It's been a while again since I've done a solo episode. And honestly, I think my speaking has gotten better because I don't think I made many errors during this episode. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I don't have to do much editing on this episode. A lot of the conversations I've been having and interviews I've been doing have helped me to pull back and be more thoughtful about the words that I want to say, the questions I want to ask. I used to slur a lot and I still sometimes speak too quickly where I get tongue twisted. And so I'm working on slowing things down and thinking things through and holding my breath instead of saying or filler words. So quick tip for you, for everyone who's nervous out there in creating content and they feel like I'm just naturally gifted, go listen to episode 1. It was boring. It was monotone. I've heard some people say it was still not that bad, but it was not that great either. I think my content's come a long way. And that is because I'm over 200 episodes deep at this point. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent as well. So, with that being said, have a great rest of your week. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'm also releasing an episode on Thanksgiving Day. But for those of you across the world, hope you are all doing well. Continue to finish your 2020 out strong. And feel free to reach out to me at any time on chrisbello09 on Instagram. I'm pretty responsive in my DMs. So, thanks and talk to you later. Bye.